It's been just 4 years since Carl Perry took out his trainer's licence and moved his family to this home and kennels in Alford in Lincolnshire. Backed by Greyhound owner Nick Brereton, the pair have enjoyed loads of success already, so I wanted to visit these kennels for a long time. I get the impression there's a lot more big race wins to come.
It was hard to find a place when we started looking at, and we had to broaden our search further and further away from Sheffield, and then eventually Nick stumbled across this place. It looked ideal, but obviously the travelling was the issue. But the first time we come and seen it, we knew it was ideal for what we wanted.
And you mentioned Nick. This is of course Nick Brereton, who you're basically employed by. You're a personal trainer to him now and oversee the entire running of this place. Is it a lifestyle you're enjoying? Yeah,
very much so, Julian. You know, it couldn't be much better, to be fair. And yeah, we're loving every minute of it. You know, it's been a bit of a whirlwind 4 years. It seems like, you know, not long ago since we started, but no, I enjoy every minute.
It was a pleasure today to meet Johnny, as you know him, but Gilo Vegas to the rest of us, the dog that kind of put you on the map really and started all this off.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, Gilo Vegas was the very first dog that me and Nick bought, and he was the first runner as a trainer, first open race runner, and the first winner and first Sky winner. So, you know, he put us enough on the map that year, and then he just excelled from there and went on to be, you know, Sprint of the Year, National Sprint winner, Derby finalist winner in Ireland. So yeah, it was just, he is so special.
And retired now, but the nature of yourself, you fall in love with your dogs and he's not going anywhere.
No, he's staying for life. He's earned his place, you know, to stay here forever. You know, we've used him at stud for a couple of his own bitches, and he's covered a bitch for John Marriott, but no, he'll be with us to see his days out.
And then the bitch that got you your first Category 1 winner was at Sheffield in the 3 Steps to Victory, Gilo Sapphire. We've met her today as well, now retired, but gosh, she gave you an emotional night, didn't she?
Yeah, it did, yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a fairy tale story. As first runner, it's his first Cat 1 runner at his home track, and then to go and win like that was very special. I'm
not sure I really need to ask this question, but what does it all mean to you?
Unbelievable. It's unreal. It's a bit surreal at the minute, I've heard.
You know, it was a special night, you know, with all the family there, Nick and all his family. Yeah, like I say, it was just a bit of a fairy tale result, and you know, it couldn't have gone much better.
So the plans now for Sapphire, we're going to see baby Sapphires running around?
Yeah, luckily she's just coming season. It'll be a quick decision in the next few days to confirm who she's going to stud D, and she'll be off to Ireland to be mated. So yeah, she'll be off soon.
Possibly the best dog in your kennel at the moment would have to be Gilo Monty in terms of racing. Unfortunately, a bit of a setback for you guys, and he won't be heading to the Derby.
Yeah, he'd had a 3 months winter rest, and intention was to have a crack at the Derby with him this year, and he'd come back with 2 lovely trials, but unfortunately picked an injury up in his last one, and in his 8 to 10 weeks off, he's about 6 weeks through that process, so it'll come too soon. So he'll have a summer campaign instead, and hopefully a good end to the year.
He went so close to winning the Summer Classic last year at Monmore, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. I mean, he seemed to do everything wrong on the night, and it became a bit of a messy race, and he just fell by a short head. But that probably will now be rerouted to his target, you know, to bring him back, to get his fitness up, and then step him up for Monmore, maybe in the Summer Classic again. How
good do you think he can be this year compared to last year's dog?
I think what he showed us in his 2 trials when he come back from his winter break, that he'd matured, personally, I think, into a better dog. I mean, his 4-bend times seemed a lot better than he had been doing last year, so you know, we'd think, you know, he's just turned 3-year-old this year, so I'd expect him to be a better dog this year.
Gilo Zip, very pretty bitch, another one that's here, another one that's off the card at the moment, just coming out of season, but Angel of the North will have a classy bitch.
Yeah, she's a very nice bitch, and she's coming at the right time of season for her this year. You know, she's just coming port season now. We'll bring her back nice and steadily, and hopefully look to aim at the same sort of bitches race as last year. I mean, we'll probably take in the LAUGHIL stakes with her, and hopefully defend the Angel of the North as well later on this year.
I've loved watching her race. I was on her at Sheffield at a big prize. I had a little word with you that night, and I know you fancied her as well. But how good can she be this year, do you think?
I think, you know, she was definitely coming towards the end of last year. She's as good as out when she gets it right. She's got the early pace and she stays. I mean, she's a BALLYMAC-esque, and she's a very strong running type, but she loves the racing as well, and very consistent. And I think she'll, you know, stay injury free. She'll have a good year as well again this year.
And another one here that we should mention is Gilo Blissful, who obviously Jim Crack, the first competition of the year, whatever happens there, she's one for us to keep an eye on for the rest of the year. You think she could be as good a bitch as you've ever had?
Yeah, I mean, she come with a reputation of being a nice bitch, and in the 4 trials to date she's done everything right, and she's settled so quick, and she's a lovely temperament, and yeah, I would say she potentially could be a very special bitch. You know, definitely time will come later on in the year. She's definitely one for the future.
Obviously, Sheffield is a track that's new to RPG TV, and I always like to try and make the viewers some money. And you're flagging up a dog here today that potentially is going to come through a few grades and hopefully end up open class at Sheffield.
Yeah, we've got a lot of young dogs coming on the track. Some are progressing further than others, but I think Gilo, big lad, showed us on in his debut in sprints. He did a lot wrong, coming from last dog to win a sprint, and looked at, you know, he'd cry out for 4 bends, and I think he'll take the step up well, and definitely looks a dog that can progress through the grades when he comes, you know, when he gets a running under his belt.
So keep an eye out for Gilo, big lad. Plenty of breeding has happened here, obviously, and a little pup born, or not so little pup born, about 4 weeks ago, but hasn't quite all gone to plan there.
Yeah, we had Mrs. Perfect in pup to Aero Majestic, and she looked like she produces a big litter, but unfortunately we only had the one little blue bitch, and you know, she's a lovely little bitch, 4 weeks old, but we've took the decision that she won't be raced and she'll be retired and kept as a pet.
And why is that?
Just she's come very attached to my daughter. Gabby's, you know, nursed her from the day she was born, and it just feels like the right thing to do. She's, you know, the one pup on their own, you know, you won't want to be putting her out on her own and things like that when it comes to time to rearing her. So we've, you know, nothing, you know, we don't know what we've missed by just retiring her as a pet, and that's what decision we made.
And I know a big part of your role here is the racing and all the paperwork that trainers have to do, but you must be so hands-on with the dogs, because I can see it in the relationship you have with them here.
Yeah, I mean, up until, you know, earlier this year, we had a kennel strength for about 35 dogs, and obviously we was hands-on, and we've just doubled that strength in about last 2 or 3 months to 70 dogs, and we've got a lot more staff, but still, you know, we're all hands-on, and it's just a big team effort. You know, we've got great staff, you know, and it's all about just, you know, we get done what we need to get done. We've got a lot more commitments to racing now, you know, 5 times a week, but still, you know, it's very much hands-on. Obviously,
Nick's a big supporter of British breeding, and I know that there are plans afoot here for more breeding this year.
Yeah, we'll look to have maybe 4 or 5 litters this year. We have 1 litter on the ground born this year, called the EMERS, and we've got a pup currently, bitch just in pup now, Gilo, Juliet, and Sapphire's off for breeding now, and then you know, we've got Express Blackie for later on in the year, and maybe if anything else comes along, we'll look at that then. But we've scaled it a back bit from last year. We've retired 1 or 2 that have had a few litters.
What's your favourite part of your job?
Because of the position we're in now, we've probably got 70–80% of our own bred dogs. Your own bred dogs, you know, making it to the track grading and coming through the grades, and yeah, it's not, you know, I love buying an open race dog, but you can't beat seeing your own bred dogs come through and gear that. I mean, whether it's a low grade win or you know, an open race win, I get a big buzz out of the own bred dogs. It's that connection from birth, you know the involvement that, you know, the family has, you know, the kids, the wife, and then seeing them mature into race dogs and coming forward. It's just that's such a special feeling.